Radio Frontier. This is Football Daft with Stephen Purden,
midfield dynamo and average actor,
Chris Toll,
target man, suspicious character,
and
with the top end of Stevenson, Grado!
Right, welcome to Football Daft, the daftest Scottish football podcast around. My name's Stephen Purden and let's welcome the team. First, a man who this week is back filming his officer Hugh McCurdy in Scott Squad. It's Grado. How's it going, mate?
How you doing, mate? Aye, it's good. Back filming. I know you were talking. Have you spoke really about the kind of COVID restrictions and all that's in place? It is crazy, isn't it?
I done a wee bit on Go Radio last week. Heard it?
Aye, see, that's right. Aye, you were on my show. You were on the breakfast show on
Go
Go
I was
Radio.
on Coffee Show, mate.
Grado,
Grado,
how come you get him on? You never get me on.
And now let's welcome a man. Let's welcome a man who put Scott Squad on the map. As Tam's bragging one of the best sketches I've seen on TV. It is Chris Toll.
Mate, that's touched me.
That's
I'm not even lying. I've watched it a good few times. Every time I see it popping up on Twitter, I watch it. Right, so this week in Scottish football, Scotland are top of the group. Brilliant, isn't he? Isn't he? Do you know what
the army.
They're absolutely fucking rotten. It's like I try my best to sit there and watch it, and then when I'm watching it, honestly, man, I watched what was the first game? Israel won it.
Yeah.
So I watched the first 70 minutes, and then I just charged on with Cobra Kai on Netflix. I couldn't take it anymore.
By the way, what about Cobra Kai? How good is Cobra Kai?
Better talking about Scotland, that's for sure.
Honestly, Cobra Kai is fucking, it's quality television.
No, but it's like, Stevie, it's like a fucking cuddle.
Aye, it is.
It's pure nostalgia.
It's a nostalgic snuggle on your couch, man. It's beautiful. It's like the wee snippets back 40, the old 80s Karate Kid. It's beautiful. Gator's not seen it, you know.
I've not fucking seen it. I've not seen Karate Kid 1. I've not seen Karate Kid 1. Never mind Cobra Kai, man. Come on.
Well, I tell you what, you've got some viewing ahead of you, brother.
Aye, you have, mate.
Oh, mate. I would like, see how you get your wee film podcast too. I would like you to write me a list of films, because I had to come up with like the best bad guy in a movie last night on Wrestling Daft, and I had to pick fucking Officer Trunchbull. No, she's not even an officer. The head teacher in Matilda.
Miss Trunchbull.
Trunchbull, man. Pam Ferris. You know what I mean? She was a good villain. But I want to know all these cool movies that I've never ever seen before.
Right, I tell you what, mate. I'll send you a list of must-see movies, all right?
Please, Dan.
Right, so Scottish football, what's gone wrong? How are they so bad?
See, with that squad that Scotland have got, they should be far better than there.
Aye.
Right.
Steve Clark's fault.
I don't know, mate. I made a point to somebody the other day, right? See, if Scotland brought in Pep Guardiola and we found out that somebody had went over to Brazil and shagged fucking hundreds of Brazilian birds, and we had 11 superb Brazilians in the squad. See, the second they put that Scotland top on, they'd all turn into fucking Wayne Biggins. Know what I mean? I don't know what it is.
Right. Look back. Walter Smith's time, even Stratton's to an extent. I think McLeish maybe get sacked for less than what Steve Clark's doing. Should he not have a team or a system at least that he knows is going to work so far?
Yeah.
See, if you've got Steve Clark as your manager, you want to install a plastic pitch. That's how he done so well at Kilmarnock, and I know that's I'm maybe selling him short, but what else has he done apart from that, really?
Do you know? I think there's a bit of a conspiracy here that I believe that Jaws Burley, Levine, Malcolm Mackay, McLeish, it feels like they're all just the fucking one manager rolled into one. Nothing changes. I don't think anything changes, mate. Nothing changes. No. What was the deal with right? Tierney and Robertson played. Did Robertson play?
Robertson played as a wing back, and Tierney played as a left centre back, basically a left side.
Do you think there's something in that, the fact that he just feels he's got to play they too because of who they are?
I think you've got... To be fair,
by the way, I'm going to say something here. I think Andy Robertson was fucking shite in both of the games. It's as though he's not quite the player unless he's got his hundreds of millions of pounds worth of talent run about him. Either that or he just doesn't get up for the Scotland games, and that for me, as the Scotland captain, is completely unforgivable.
I don't think
Andy Robertson has made himself into a player. He's won the Champions League, he's won the Premier League down in England, and now he's playing for Scotland. I think the blame then falls on Steve Clarke. I don't think it's Andy Robertson.
You see, if you say Andy, you can't say that Andy, because I personally believe that probably Andy Robertson, who's down there with all the 5-star elite players, man, when he comes up here, he's probably right, man, fucking let's show, because he probably gets ribbed in training and all that. Fucking Scottish fitness, the Scotland team.
But listen, you can say, right, come on, let's go. But he's going out onto that pitch and he's not cutting the mustard, man. I'm sorry, but he's not.
Aye, but you look at that Scotland team, right? That's so Scotland, man, right? You're going to then turn on your best player and go, he's shite.
But he wasn't the best player, though.
What?
He was. You're saying that he was all right?
No, I'm saying he is on paper probably our best player.
On paper, but you don't play football on paper, Stevie. You play it on grass.
I know.
And he's no fucking doing the business on the pitch.
Who is, but?
Well, that's another thing, but you should be looking at your captain to set an example.
Right. What formation did they play against Israel?
I don't think even fucking Steve Clarke knows what fucking formation.
So see Andy Robertson, who's the captain, and there's so much pressure on him to perform. If you're going out there and you can't even tell me what formation they played on Friday against Israel and then the other night, how can you just pick one player and go, it's his fault?
No, but I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm not saying it's his fault. What I'm saying is he doesn't perform to the same standard for Scotland as he does for Liverpool.
But my point is, who does?
He's the only one that plays for Liverpool in the Scotland squad, mate.
Well, I'm saying, who does play good for Scotland?
Big Lyndon Dykes. There you go, Big Lyndon. Do you know who pissed me off and all? Christie. His decision making is shocking.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Another player again who is probably arguably one of the best players in the league up here, playing against Czech Republic the other night, who fucking put a fucking makeshift team together, who you could then point the finger at and go, you need to be doing more. You need to be doing more. There's so many.
They all need to be doing more. My point that I'm trying to make is you look to the captain to set the example. That's all I'm saying. Right? I'm not bludgeoning Andy Robertson at all. Andy Robertson's a fucking tremendous footballer. Right? But what I'm saying is the minute he puts on that Scotland strip, and that gets back to my point that I made before, it's as if when they put that jersey on, their fucking ability deteriorates by about 50%. It's weird.
But mate, I think that then falls down to Steve Clarke. See if you're a player going on international duty and you go into that dressing room and Steve Clarke is telling you, we're playing this system, I'm going to put Scott McTominay, who's a centre mid, centre half, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I think all your fucking enthusiasm for the game just goes out the fucking window. Because I don't think he knows what his best team is. He doesn't know what his best system is. So what chance have the fucking players got?
Yeah.
Well, that's a fair point, mate. I'll hold my hands up to that. That's a fair point.
Let's get to a more upbeat. It was a good discussion. It was. Let's get to a more upbeat one, but
what about the fucking straight out the crystal rumour mill? Mark Miller.
That's what I want to talk about.
The X-Men comics and what have you is teamed up with his hometown club, my hometown club, Albion Rovers, to allow fans of them and 21 other lower league teams to broadcast live games. Right, it's a state-of-the-art streaming system that they're using. It uses robots to film the games now. That sound, how much does this sound like the Crystal Rumour Mill, honestly?
Aye.
But this
the ref doesn't need a book, it's on an app.
He's got a fucking iPhone on his wrist to book the players and all that. That's crazy shit, man.
Yeah, see this guy though, see Mark Miller. For your hometown especially, see Mark Miller, he's an absolute credit, man. See the stuff that guy does. Him and his wife do in Coatbridge. It's like Christmas when he
the panel in it.
He does that as well. He sends his schools to the panel. We see them all. Me and Grado see them all every year. The stuff he does, like sending Wayne's and all that, going to the cinema for free. He's just an absolute gentleman, and he's a legend, man. He is.
He's a legend.
What about that piece of kit that he's using? See that? Is it the Pixie Lot or something? I've googled it to see how much it costs.
The Pixie Lot. That's a fucking singer, you madman.
It's not far off that, whatever the video's called. It's called Pixie something. The technology is amazing, but what is it? Is there just going to be like one for every stadium, and that's going to pick up everything? I mean, I did watch how it works, but is that the only? It looks as if there's only going to be one guy that turns up on the day, presses start, and that's it. Biff.
Well, that's it. There's you don't need a camera crew for this, which is a huge thing, right? But I'm maybe going down the rumour mill side of things again, but Mark Miller's got a huge connection to Netflix. Right. I think this is Netflix dipping their toes into sport. And to be honest with you, I'm all for it, man. Do you remember back in the day when they wanted SPL TV or Fan TV or something like that, and it all fell to bits? But I can't remember exactly why it fell to bits. See if the Scottish teams could get this in, or the Scottish teams, and be in control of their own image rights and their own game footage and all that. It can only be good for Scottish football. It really can. And he's a forward-thinking man that's clearly trying to do something here. I genuinely do think this is the future.
It was good seeing as well. Matt Miller, he was talking about these the games that they're going to put on, and he was saying on the news, look, he wants fucking expats that are San Francisco to tune in and watch Albion Rovers, but he also wants other Americans to see it as well. It would be amazing if that did take off, because he has got a name, and you're right, he could have connections to Netflix, mate. Honestly, I wouldn't surprised if he gets involved with other things as well. It's because this is the way football's gone, man. With the match, the club's pay-per-view and stuff like that. Things are going to change in the next couple of years, man.
I think in the next few years, Sky and stuff like that is going to be obsolete.
Clubs are going to have their own TV, man, their own setup, their own TV channels, and it's going to be accessible for supporters, and it's going to be tied in as a package with your season book and all that shit. You know what I mean? That's where I think it will go.
And also, like, you don't know how long this is going to last with the coronavirus stuff.
Exactly, but it's a future trip. It's a future. So on the show today, we welcome the current Dumbarton manager Jim Duffy, and Chris had a reprieve on last week's Legends Lottery, so gets another shot today. And on the big question we're asking, has a footballer ever bitten back at you after you said something to him? But now, Jim White, look out, there's a new kid in town. It's Chris Tony's Rumour Mill.
There we go. Celtic are working on a deal for QPR's Nigerian winger Bright Asai Samuel. The talented 22-year-old who can play in either flank is entered in the final year of his deal with the Championship club, having triggered an extension earlier this summer. QPR are said to be keen to retain their man beyond this year, but Celtic are now believed to be monitoring the situation, and Rangers apparently are also keeping tabs on him as well. Yep. Reports in France claim that Fiorentina are the latest club interested in Alfredo Morelos, so you can add them to the 752 teams that have been named so far.
Yeah. Bayern Leverkusen, Porto, Lille,
fucking Hamilton Accies, Juventus, Uruguay, Brazil.
Imagine Celtic signed him.
Oh mate, do you know what? I was worried that Leeds were going to sign him. Oh, I don't know if I can support him.
I know, don't you could, man.
Right, Hibernian are interested in free agent Scott Fraser, the former Dundee United midfielder, who's most recently been at Burton Albion. Roma, listen to this one, right? This sounds as if it's made up, this one, right? Roma have had a strong interest in Celtic outcast Volleyball and Golly and could make an offer in the coming days. Serie A giants like the look of the left back despite his quarantine antics and are considering a move to take him to the Eternal City. And finally,
what a move that'd be for him?
I know, it would. It'd be mental, wouldn't it?
A move.
Finally, lads, the day has come. The day has come where we can announce that Aaron Hickey has signed for a club.
Bologna.
He signed a 4-year deal with Bologna, subject to a medical.
Telling you, he's going to fail the medical.
It's a certainty, innit? It's a fucking
It's funny you're saying that, Bob, because see when I seen him at the airport yesterday and all the journals were there. And they're getting...
Was he limping?
No, but see when he was holding up the Italian flag and all that, and he kept going like that. It's great to play, get a chance to play at San Siro and game. But I mean, I need to pass my medical first. He kept saying that then. And I just thought, and this is horrible saying this, but he's got the Italian flag and he's posing at the airport. It would just be the hang, wouldn't it? And for somebody Scottish for that to happen to him, wouldn't it?
Failed the medical, man. I'm telling you, I can see it happening, man.
Fingers crossed everything goes through for the boy, you know what I mean?
Aye, I'm fucking fed up talking about him.
I know. Don't worry, we'll no need to worry about Andy Robertson shortly. He'll be the new Scotland left back anyway.
Football Daft with G4 Claims. Been involved in a road traffic accident? Call them now on 01698 767 172.
I need to tell you about this first. You never guess what happened to me.
Right, what?
I fell through the window of a golf accessory shop, right? Absolute nightmare. I had to go to A&E. I was that bad. But the doctor said I should be okay, but I'm not out of the woods yet.
Hey! Are you feeling a wee bit rough? Hey!
Ladies and
a wee
gentlemen,
bit green around the gills.
ladies and gentlemen, if you've just joined us, this is Jim from G4 Claims. He just started off there with a wee golf joke. Jim is from G4 Claims. We're a very favourite absolute company in the whole entire world. Jim, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good to have you in the show. How's your week been?
Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
And how's lockdown treating you?
Very well, actually. I'm still in furlough, so I'm loving it.
Jim, how can you be in furlough for a company that you fucking own, mate?
Shh. People could be listening.
And obviously, Crystal is just cracking on one of his jokes there. Right?
Yes, that's one of my many, many jokes. I do apologise, folks.
If you haven't subscribed to us yet, press like, retweet, subscribe, do the full lot. We've got more of this every week in Football Daft. Jim, take it away. Tell us a bit more about G4 Claims.
Right, if you're involved in a non-fault accident, G4 Claims can supply you with a replacement vehicle. And they can get your car repaired at a body shop of your choice. We can also do your personal injury claims. If you're injured in an accident, we can do your personal injury claim and claim full compensation for you. Give G4 Claims a call on 01698 767 172. Also, we'll pay you a commission if you refer today. Get on the phone if you have a non-fault accident. Now listen, guys, always have a cracking show. Good to catch up again.
No, Jim. You didn't do the G4 catchphrase, man.
That's Grado's bit. He does that.
What is it? Right, I'll start it off and then you all come in at the second verse,
That's
right?
what we'll do.
Right. G4 Claims. Not at fault claims.
Made easy.
The Legends Lottery on Football Daft.
Right, let's see if we can get this feature back on track. Once again, our Football Daft time machine is a bit like Bill and Ted. Find a famous football player from back in the day to come on a Legends Lottery. Each week, one of the team is tasked with finding a former hero and getting them on the show. Then you rate how good they were out of 5. So, Stevie Boy, all shell suit Bob, is on 19.3. Chris is second on 13.9. Well, I'm a wee bit back in the game. I'm on 12.5 after an absolute terrific score for my cousin Gary, who was a mascot at Kilmarnock. But that could all change now as it's Chris's turn, as he did get a bye, which was fair enough. I did dispute it a wee bit, but fair's fair. Chris Toll, it's your turn. Last week you made an asset, but you're back on track here.
Aye, well, as I said, I wasn't great the last couple of weeks. I've not been feeling well, and to be honest with you, it just completely went out of my mind that I had to get the Legends Lottery in. But
that European result had really got to you, mate. That flowed you for 2 weeks, man.
Fuck up you, man.
That fucking that European virus he had, man.
Feringe virus, it was called. It was called a Feringe virus. Right, no, but anyway, at the end of the day, I've pulled a fucking topper right out the hat here. Wait till you see this one, lads. He's currently playing for Ross County. He's had 4 spells at the club. Started his career at Celtic and he's been about a bit more. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Michael Gardyne.
Oh, it's a good one, mate.
What's happening, Michael? How you doing? Thanks very much for coming on the show, mate. You've saved my fucking bacon. Honest to God. Look, another handsome bastard.
These handsome football players that come on, man.
Well, I'll tell you a story, right? This is the reason how me and Michael got in contact in the first place, right? So we're sitting watching Celtic versus Ross County, and my mum says, "When did he sign for Ross County? That must have cost him a fortune." He's talking about Michael. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She says, "He must have. That's that Messi, isn't it?" She thought you were fucking Messi. She thought you were the double of Messi. And see, when I looked at you, I was like, by the way, he fucking does look a bit like Messi, right enough. But aye, Michael,
so mate, you're going to give an inside scoop, man, while you're staying at Barca now?
Staying at Barca, mate, I've chucked it. I didn't fancy the English Prem with Man City, so I'm just going to stay at Barca.
Fair dues, mate. Fair dues.
Mate, thanks very much for coming on. I know you're strapped for time. You've got to pick up the reins, but just a wee quick chat about your career and stuff like that, and how things are going now for you. And hopefully you get hammered at the weekend. No offence, right? But anyway, we'll go for it. How's the life at Ross County now, mate?
Aye, all good, mate. All good. We've had an all right start, I'd say. We could have been doing with picking up more points against likes of Livingston and Kelly and that, because our next 4 or 5 are tough ones. Obviously, I think we've got Celtic, Aberdeen, Hibs, Rangers. So
that's an easy 12. That's an easy 12 points for you there, I'd say.
Right.
By the way, you've had some start to the season, I must admit. Brilliant.
Aye, it's been no bad. So, but tough one Saturday.
Aye.
Nah.
No.
You should be brand new, mate. You'll be brand new.
Hey, mate, come on.
Apart from that, how's life treating you with the whole lockdown thing and stuff like that?
Aye, mate, it was all right. First couple of weeks was a bit naughty, but then you just got into the swing of things. I've got a wee one in Dundee and I've got 2 in Inverness. I don't hang about, obviously. So between the getting the kids, it was all good.
So you've had four different spells at Ross County. Right, that's a bit nuts for a start, but apart from that, you've played for Morton, Dundee United and Kilmarnock as well. I'm assuming Ross County is probably your favourite club that you've played for, would I be right?
It's just, I don't know what the thing is, just seem every time I come back and that I seem to do well and stuff, so I was buzzing for the move to Dundee United, to be fair, but just went a wee bit sour with me and Jackie McNamara, but coming back here and I seem to be doing alright, so all's good.
Was Jackie McMurder?
He was just like, I don't know, he was just, me and him just didn't see eye to eye. I'm sure something must have happened when I was a young boy at Celtic when Jackie was first team. I must have done a poo in one of his socks or something. I must have, because he just didn't like me at United, and I was performing fine in training and stuff. So I'm not sure what it was that he didn't like me.
Look, for me, any time you play against Celtic, obviously, that'll be the most times that I've seen you playing is against Celtic, right? You always tend to stand out, you know, and it's, I don't know why somebody wouldn't want you in the team, because you always tend to be one of the better players in any squad that I've seen yet. So, basically, Jackie McNamara, he reaped what he sowed with that one, didn't he? Out in his arse. Anyway, what else is what about your time at Kilmarnock? How was that?
Aye, it was actually really good. Got really pally with that big blue nose Chris Boyd. Actually, one of the best guys I've ever met, ever played with, honestly. He's
Big Boydie?
Aye, great guy, man.
Aye, so you supplied, I dare say you supplied Boydie with a few goals.
Aye, it was actually good. I played the number 10 just off him. He's a moody, greedy, big. Could you swear? Big bastard. He's a greedy big bastard, like. But brilliant. Like I was still 27, 28, and I learned a lot from him playing with him. Like he was brilliant. Just that eye for a goal. But that season as well, he got fitter. I made him lose a wee bit of weight in that, and it's the best shape he's ever been. That was the season he ended up bagging about 23 goals for Kelly that season.
Right, He went back to Rangers at the end there, didn't he?
Aye, he did. Aye, I got him moved back to Rangers, so it was all good.
What's the aim this season, mate? Where's Ross County? Where can you see yourselves finishing?
Obviously, like you want to see this, like we want to stay up in that, obviously, but you want to. We stayed up last season, so you want to better it. Like,
aye.
Obviously, there's 5-6 big clubs in the league, and the rest are kind of fighting for 6-7 spot. But there's no reason why we can't be one of the clubs that are fighting for, you know, like the last kind of top 6 place.
Aye, the boy, what's his name? Is it Ross Stewart?
Aye, big Ross.
He started well, man. I've seen a few of your games, man. He's got a few goals, scored a couple of pens, hasn't he? I've seen him, man. He looks like
in my fantasy team.
Aye, he's a good player, good big lad as well, and he's got better year on year, because when he first came he was that kind of raw, big skinny striker, but fair play to him, he's worked hard in that, he works hard in training, and it's obviously working out well for him in the games just now.
Michael, how are you getting on with playing in these, I'm calling it empty arena matches as if it's wrestling, but what is that?
Wearing your costumes in these empty arena matches, man.
Send me up an outfit for Saturday, mate, and I'll wear it out.
Hey, I've got plenty of leotards that no longer fit me, mate, so I can send them up to you, no bother, pal. Left the sweat right on them for the last time I wrestled fucking Big Drew and that. Left a lot of money. You want one for the weekend?
Want one, aye.
And by the way, they'll be fucking riddled with COVID, mate. You'll never make it back. So, what are you thinking for the weekend then? How do you think you're going to do?
It's still like it. They're still the champions, but you know they've not had the greatest starts for them. They'll be feeling a wee bit of pressure because obviously they need to catch Rangers at the top of the league. So we're at home, no fans. Like most of their players have been away on international duty and stuff. You know what I mean? It's like it's still Celtic at the end of the day. It's still going to be tough, but we've worked hard this week in training and stuff. We know our kind of game plan and stuff like that. So hopefully we could take for training what we've done onto the pitch.
Here's hoping, Michael. Here's hoping, mate.
Listen, Michael, I'll let you get going, mate, and go and get the kids. I really appreciate you coming on the show. Thanks.
Cool, that was a good one, mate.
That was a good
one. That one, eh? I pulled that one out.
Aye, that was a good one, mate.
You're just in the back catalogue. All these pros we've had on the show that just are all handsome, man, and put us three to shame, man. With us four.
I'm sitting here looking like a fucking tatty. You know what I mean? He comes on all coiffed and all that. And
you look like Matt Lucas, mate. You look like Matt Lucas.
Welcome to Football Daft with Matt Lucas and Screech for Saved by the Bell up the top there, John.
That's like Dustin Diamond.
So he does. Like Dustin Diamond.
Michael, thanks a lot, my man.
Cheers, Strips. Get me on again.
Good luck Saturday, my man.
I will get you on as a main guest, bro. Thanks very much.
Get me on, mate, and we'll have some proper banter.
Right,
aye, 100%, pal.
See you later, mate.
Thanks, Michael. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Football Daft's big question.
Right, Cole, so Grado's had to nip off for a while. He'll be back soon, but
aye, he's away for one of these sit-down pishes that he does.
Right, so he might be sometime. So let's just crack on with a big question with him, wait for him to come back, right? So, fans, we don't know when they're going to be back into the stadium, right? But this week, we've put it out there. The big question is, have you ever gave abuse to a player and he's gave it back when you've been at a football game? Like, I think I'd shite myself at happens. John,
yeah, well, this was back in the Brockville days.
He would eat you up and spit you out, Screech.
Where I don't understand where this Screech stuff's coming from.
Mate, have you seen Screech recently? Yeah, he's double.
Right. Some people have made the remark in the past that I do look like Screech for Saved by the Bell. I don't see...
Gordon Petridge, man, he would pick you up, mate.
Right, well, Gordon Petridge was playing for Dundee United at the time when I was, I was a young lad. I was stupid. It was like 12, 13. He was playing for Dundee United. And we were giving it... He comes over for a throw-in. Right, and you know how Brockville was so tight and you're right up against players. We're giving him all dogs abuse. And he basically just turns around to us and makes the gesture of... points at me and goes like that as in, and if you're just listening, as I'm making the gesture of a breast. So basically, effectively, Gordon Petridge called me a tit, but I don't know if he could, in the translation, obviously, he didn't know the word tit, or I'm sure he would have called me it, but he did make the motion of calling me a tit by symbolising a breast towards me. So Gordon Petridge basically called me a tit. So,
by the way, you got away lightly there because that could have turned out a lot worse for you, John.
It could have. He was a big lad.
He's a big boy, man. I thought you'd be here today, mate. We wouldn't be sitting this.
But I thought, there must be other people out there that have, thought they're Billy Big Boss and shouting at a footballer, and then the footballers turned around and said something back to them, and we put it out to the listeners.
Well, my brother-in-law was at the game, right, at a Rangers game a couple of seasons ago, and he sits in the Govan front. And he said there's a few players giving Daniel Candeas abuse, right? And Daniel Candeas turned round and pointed there at one of the boys and kept staring at him and saying, outside, they're getting it.
Candeas was asking him for a square go inside.
Daniel Candeas was wanting a square go with one of the punters, man.
I'll meet you outside at 5 o'clock, big man. I'll see you there.
I'll get you at the front doors.
At the front doors.
Right, so we've got Aidan here. It was a few years after he retired from football, but James Allen from Las Vegas called me an ugly wee bastard outside Fat Sam's in Dundee.
Brilliant, man. That's brilliant.
Jeez,
Like, Graham, at an under-18s game back in the day, Big Rab, the defender, was getting grief from our assistant manager. He then lost the plot, ran over, and the two started boxing. Game abandoned.
Oh,
well
fucking hell.
Well done, Big Rab.
Stuart says he can remember Jim Chapman at Clyde. After they lost to Elgin, he squared up to some fans after the game. A few days later, he left us. Then Barry Ferguson came in, but that's another story altogether.
Bob Malcolm saw that tweet and put a reply to it with just laughing emojis. So I don't know what that means.
Hey, Joe says, Charlie Adam, a few months ago, after he said Morelos was worth 8 million, told him he was a disgrace and no better than Chris Mutton, told him ex-players should support the club and be positive and stop bowing to the filth-run media. Ended up messaging back and forth for half an hour.
Clubber got offered outside after the match by Colin West once at Tannadice for calling him a shite.
Gav had a full-blown slagging match with Alex Ray when he was Dundee manager. They were playing Motherwell. Stewards came to chuck me out and he told them to leave me alone as he was enjoying the banter. LOL. Always liked the guy after that. That's the way it should be, innit?
Aye, it's exactly it. A bit of banter, you know what I mean? Davey was the last one to get in touch with us about this. He was away at Tannadice circa 2005. He had a goalie top that said, Kloss won der goalie on the back. This was in support of Kloss being replaced as number 1 by Waterous. I held it up as the players were walking off after the warm-up. Kloss applauded me and Waterous gave me the fingers.
A couple of late entries as well that just came in. This one from Mark. Nacho Novo called me an arsehole in Silverburn because I was giving him stick about Rangers. Then I was sat next to him on a flight to Tenerife a year later. But he's actually a nice guy, so I had a laugh about it. And this one from Andy. You'll enjoy this one, Stephen. I called Nuno Capucho shite outside the Ibrox once, and he signed my shirt. The rage I felt after that.
Oh man, they were the days, man. Brilliant. Cheers for everybody for getting in touch.
Football Daft with G4 Claims. Been involved in a road traffic accident? Call them now on 01698 767 172.
Now it's time to try and give away a case of Beer 52 as we once again play the Pro Set playoff. In my hand, I have the 91-92 Pro Set cards, and basically we describe the player, and you guys have got to guess who it is to try and win a crate of beer. So today, playing, coming from Campbelltown, it's Bobby DL, who's an Aberdeen supporter. Hi, Bobby.
Good to meet you, lads.
Welcome, Bobby. Welcome. Thanks for coming on, my man.
Listen, Bobby, I've got some bad news for you, mate. Last week, the guy absolutely torched us and took 4 cases of beer with him. So you're down to 1, my man. You're down to 1.
I know, but who's a man day living in Aberdeen supporting the Rangers?
That's what I said.
It's that about.
And do you know what he said to me, Bobby? He said, you'd be surprised, there's loads of us.
Toll, you took a right shine to him, didn't you, Toll?
Aye, I liked him. He was a lovely fella.
Yeah, tell me about Campbelltown, mate, because this might surprise you, right? But I went to be a policeman 3 times and I had 3 police interviews, right?
And he ended up on a sitcom.
Actually, I got rid of all my kind of, like, what I always wanted to do was put on a uniform. So once I'd done that with Scott Squad, I was brand new, because that was one of my, like, the thrills that I had putting on a police uniform. Anyway, every time I got an interview, right, the woman went, you know, we do cover the full of Strathclyde. You could be posted to Campbelltown. Every interview, that's what they said to me. What's so bad about Campbelltown?
We seem to get all the new police here.
Is that what they do? Is that the deal they send all the police to use?
I think it's because there's so many Rangers fans down here, they've got a lot of police.
Oh. And Grado would have fit it right in, he wouldn't have arrested them, they. Funny handshakes and all that, Bobby, you know what I
mean? Loads of them down here. It's 90% Rangers fans in Campbelltown.
Love it, mate. Brilliant. Superb. Shout to Campbelltown.
I'm going to retire there, man. I'm going to move here. I'm going to retire.
That was Rangers. Even 2012 when they died, they keep supporting that new club as well.
Right, Bobby, thanks for joining us.
Right, okay, so Bobby, you've got that.
Bobby, you're coming on Select Daft next week, mate.
I don't want to be this cunt because I know he's
42.
Right, so mate, there's no way he can verse me because he's going to absolute scud me if he plays me this game. I don't want scud enough.
We'll find out who's going to play in a minute. The rules are really simple, guys. As I said, read the description of footballer. You buzz in when you know the answer, but if you do buzz in, you can't buzz in again. If no one gets it before the end of the description, we turn the card over so you can see the player. We'll do the draw, first to 2 wins. So we're going to do the draw here. Bobby, who do you want to play?
Well, the Aberdeen Lake Tigers get 1-0 on the Rangers, so either Bob or Grado.
Right, okay. Right.
I don't want to play, mate.
I think he knows his stuff. I'm fear him.
It is Grado again.
Fix this one. You're at it, Skeet.
I think it's only Grado's name that's in that hat.
It seems to be the last couple of weeks, right? So here we go, Bobby. What's your buzzer going to be?
On the sheep.
Right. Grado, what's yours going to be?
Mine's is going to be moo.
Right, okay.
Well, what are you screwing your face at, Bob? He's gone sheep. I'm going to move for the cow, no?
All right, it works. Listen, it works.
Would Aberdeen fans, will I get bullied online for this?
Nah, it's all just good banter, mate.
Right, here we go then. First player out of the 91-92 Pro Set cards. It's a Sid Millen midfielder. This player made his league debut in 1986 after joining Sid Millen from Linwood Rangers Boys Club. He's a player with match-winning skills.
Ian Ferguson.
No, I'll continue. He's now enjoying his 6th season at Love Street. He's established as a regular first-teamer and is comfortable playing at Premier League level. St Mirren midfielder. Do you want me to turn the card, Bobby?
Yep, the card. Yep.
Who's that?
Paul Lambert. Fuck's sake.
Money sheep, Paul Lambert.
Yep, you're right. Well done, Bobby. Grado was disqualified, so he gave you the answer. So 1-0 to you.
Fuck's sake, Grado, you're keeping Beer 52 in fucking business here.
Next player, here we go. An Aberdeen defender. Right up your street here, Bobby.
This is a quick one. Isn't it?
This player first tasted league action for Falkirk in 1984 before joining Aberdeen just over a year later.
On the sheep. Gary Smith.
Gary Smith, you say?
Yeah.
You're wrong. I'll continue. Grado, here you go. He's established himself in the centre of defence, replacing the folk hero Willie Miller. No easy task. He's now in his 7th season at Pittodrie and made his full international debut for Scotland against Romania in 1991. Centre half for Aberdeen, Scotland cap. Do you want me to turn the card, Grado, so you can see him?
I suppose turn the card, that'll probably help me.
Bobby knows who it is now.
Nah, Christ, the cup winner.
Is that, fuck me, man, is that Brian Irvin? No.
Yeah.
Grado, 1-1.
Yeah!
Here we go. This is the decider, boys. And it's a Hearts midfielder. This player is another player to have joined Rangers from Gartcosh United. Signing in 1983, he made his league debut for Rangers the following year. He had a spell on loan to Dundee during the 89-90 before joining Hearts the following term. Undoubtedly talented, he has won international honours at schools, youth, under-21 and full levels for Scotland. Hearts midfielder, formerly of Rangers.
On the sheep.
Bobby.
John Cahoon.
No, wrong. Grado.
John Cohen for Rangers, turn it up.
Derek Ferguson.
Derek Ferguson.
Aye.
2-1 Grado.
Get out of here, well played, big man. Zoom handshake, my man. All the best. Catch you later. See you later, man. Okay.
Well played, Bobby. It means there's now going to be 2 crates of Beer 52 up for grabs next week. So if you want to get involved in play next week, get us on Twitter at FootballDaft. Winners must be over 18 and stay in the UK. And of course, remember, you can get a case of Beer 52 right now. beer52.com/daft. We'll only charge you $4.95 for the postage and packaging. You'll get a crate of beer from some of the best small batch breweries around the world. Whatever your taste, you've got IPAs in there, you've got lagers, you've got dark beers, stouts, whatever you fancy. Hit up beer52.com/daft and get your first case of beer on us.
Football Daft with G4 Claims. Find them on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram at G4 Claims Limited.
Right, folks, let's welcome to Football Daft a man who as a player made his name as a no-nonsense defender at the likes of Morton, Dundee and Partick Thistle. As a manager, he was one of the youngest ever in Scotland, taking on Falkirk before spells at Dundee, Hibs, Brecon, Clyde and Morton. He's now in charge of Dumbarton. It's the one and only legendary Mr. Jim Duffy. How you doing, Jim? Thanks very much for coming on the show.
No, I'm good. Good to speak to you.
How's it going, Jim? Is it,
Yeah,
I'm just the first thing that because obviously when we go, we get a guest on, we always look at Wikipedia, right? But one of the first things it says is you were brought up in Maryhill and Charlie Nicholas was your neighbour. Is that true?
Yeah, we stayed through the wall, each other, just right.
That's amazing, man. So was it just used when you were young, just out playing football in the street? How did it go about?
Yeah, I mean, I stayed 47 Glenfinnan Road. He was 49, so we're through the wall. We just grew up. I mean, I went. His man, dad, my man, dad knew each other from Kicadens, and then we moved to Maryhill. Charles was about 3 years younger than me, so I went to the same class as his sister Janice, and then the families were always pals anyway. And just coincidentally, we moved next door. So when we went out and played street football in those days, then he, as I said, even though he was younger, he was such a talented football player that he played with us kind of older guys at that time. And, you know, another boy that played in the same street as and just lives, you know, maybe 20, 30 yards away from us was Andy Robertson's dad, which was Brian Robertson. So Andy Robertson, the captain of Scotland and plays for Liverpool. So, yeah, it was just an era where everybody went in and played. We had, you know, every boy in the street and the surrounding streets all played. But we stayed next door to each other.
Right.
It's like a who's who of Scottish football in that street then, isn't it?
Well, there was, as I said, there was a kind of one or two, but there was a lot of good players. I mean, I think you know yourself. You play football, you play with your pals. You know, I had guys who I think were much better players than me, but they maybe didn't dedicate themselves quite the same. So they liked a drink and a fag or whatever it happened to be, or a sniff of the glue at that time. Either way, but that was it, and they kind of drifted in different ways. And some of them, don't get me wrong, some of them played junior football for years and all these kind of things. But at that time, when you're if you're right here, try and give it a go somewhere, then they maybe went off in a different direction than I did.
So, Jim, at the start of the year, you had a wee heart scare. How are you feeling now, mate? All good?
Aye, I mean, completely out of the blue. I mean, I think everybody, generally that knows me, I don't drink and I don't smoke. I've never drank even, I've been completely teetotal since the last time I drank I was 16. So, so from that point of view, I wasn't the stereotypical kind of person to have a heart attack. But it happened, and you just have to, there's. You sometimes, like anybody gets an illness, you always think, how did it happen to me? And then you kind of get a bit bogged down with that for a wee while. But then you've just got to think, well, it's done. Let's move on and look forward. So that's what I'm doing. But I feel pretty good now. So no real issues. And hopefully it was a scare and nothing more than that.
So Jim, back to your career and stuff. You started at Celtic. Mm-hmm. Were you disappointed not to get a chance there at Celtic when you were there?
Oh, aye. I mean, I think that first when you first sign, you kind of tend to think you're a bit overwhelmed. But you walk in the door and there's all these superstar players and guys who you watched or you grew up watching or whatever it happens to be. So you maybe don't think you justify being there. So it probably took me about a good year, I would think, to actually feel comfortable. And it's only when other players start to tell you. So likes of Tommy Burns and Johnny Doyle. The guys like that, they would say to me, Murdo McLeod, you should be in the first team, or you should be this. And then you start to think, well, I must be doing okay. But it does take a while. And then eventually, you come to a point where you enjoy playing and you want to go and play first team football. So I had no problem with it. It was a decision that, again, as I got older, you learn as you make as a manager. It's not personal. You just think, I need to get success or I need to get results. So you play the players accordingly. And I was a wee bit unlucky once or twice where I get injured at key moments when I was maybe on the fringes, I was on the bench, and then maybe the next week I get an injury somewhere and that set you back, and then you maybe miss your chance. But listen, overall, it gave me a chance to get the kind of football, professional football ladder, first step in the ladder. So it gave me a chance, and then after that, I'm still in it. So I can't really complain about that. And as I said, I still had a really good time here and met a lot of good guys.
So you had to retire pretty early because of an injury, Jim. That must have been hard on all. What was going through your mind at that point?
I think that's probably the hardest thing because I was 28. I was playing really well. All that kind of stuff. You became a kind of an important player in your team, and the team was looking quite good. And it's all the kind of things. My kids were really young. In fact, my son was he was trying to think 3, I think, and my daughter was actually born the week after I got injured. So I had a really young family. Obviously you've got a mortgage, you've got all these things, and you just don't know what to do with yourself then. So you're thinking, what am I going to do? So it was a bit kind of devastating when you're told, you get an injury, the surgeon then, takes you in and then gives you this big long list of things which is the matter with you. And then you say, well, look, but it's all medical terms, and you're thinking, what's he on about? I said, well, what you tell me? He said, well, I'm telling you, you'll never play professional football again. And then that's when you gets a lump in the throat and you take a step back. So, yeah, but then you've got to recover for that. So, listen, again, as I said, it's one of those things that's maybe tests your character at times. And again, for a few months, you're a bit flat and a bit kind of, what am I going to do? And then you just have to move. You have to look at your, as I said, at that time, I think if I remember right, it was September the 5th. My daughter was born September 18th. So you've got a wee baby, you've got a young son. So you've then got to think, well, I need to date it. I've got a family here. I need to date something. So you can't feel sorry for yourself too long. And it did help having a young family and a new daughter, because that helped you focus and allows you to
motivation a bit as well
to move on. Aye. Exactly. It helped you to kind of look forward and say, right, I need to get my arse off the couch and start to look forward now.
Give you a bit of perspective, that, wasn't it? So you moved into managing at 28-year-old. That is pretty much unheard of. You must be one of the youngest managers in Scottish football history.
I think, as I said at the time, I was the youngest manager in Great Britain. I don't know, because obviously people do play manager roles and all these kind of things now. But I was 28, I think, when I went to Airdrie as assistant with big Gordon McQueen. He'd come up to take the job. And I didn't know Gordon. I just met him at a coaching course because I thought I'll try and get into coaching. And then within about 3 months, I was offered the Falkirk job. So I was very young, very inexperienced, very naive, but I had full enthusiasm. So I suppose sometimes that energy and enthusiasm can cover a multitude of sins.
So tell me this one then, you walk into the Falkirk dressing room and there's players that are older than you.
Yeah.
Right? Players that are probably a fair bit older than you. That must have been pretty daunting.
To be honest with you, some people have said that to me, but I didn't actually think about it. I knew one or two of them as well, because like, for instance, Jim Holmes, who's a pal of mine and played with me at Morton and was a fantastic player. Homer was there, Peter Houston and guys like that. So I did know a few of the kind of older guys, and then there was young guys like Alec Ray and they were, I think, Alec was about 18 or something at the time. So to be honest with you, I think I was that. I don't know. You just get kind of excited. I was probably just like I went at Christmas. You know what I mean? You're just like, this is great. What a job I've got here. So I didn't really think too much about whether somebody was older than me or more experienced than me. As I said, I was naive, but I was just full of energy. I was full of adrenaline and just wanted to try and do well.
Aye. And was there any managers, Jim, that you base your style on? Because obviously you're going at 28. There must have been managers we thought, right, you're taking certain things for the experience you've had with managers before. Was there any particular managers you took a look for?
I think the two guys that I took mostly was the guys at Morton, was Benny Rooney and Mick Jackson. And it wasn't so much the managerial style or the coaching side of it, because that was still a wee bit old-fashioned in some aspects. It was more the man management. It was more how they dealt with players, because they had some real characters at Morton, as I mentioned, Jim Rooney and Roddy Hutchinson, Big Andy Ritchie. I mean, Davy Hayes. There's some real strong characters and guys that weren't drinking violets, that's for sure. But Benny and Mick handled them brilliantly, and they had a great balance between them in terms of patter and fun and all these kind of things. But at the same time, you knew they were in charge. So I think probably learn more about the man management style rather than how to coach a group of players or take them out in sessions. Because listen, players just want to enjoy training. Players don't want to be overly tactical and all that kind of stuff. That's the reason I think a lot of players in this country don't travel well. Because if you go to Italy or Spain or Germany, it's very tactical, very structured. They don't like that. I'm talking even top players. There's very, very few top players have went abroad and been successful. Of course, we know a few recently, but there's been very few. If you look at it the other way around, there's been hundreds of players have came to this country, but very, very few, and even less Scottish players. There's only a handful of players have really from Scotland have went abroad and been successful. So the tactically and all that kind of stuff, as long as you make things enjoyable for players and they want to come into training and it's no, as I say, no overly complicated, then you can normally do okay. But it's the handling their characters, because they are strong and sometimes they will kind of rebel against you a wee bit if you're trying to be too heavy-handed with them.
Right. So Jim, what led to you putting the boots back on?
Well, I left Falkirk through a bit of stupidity on my part. I was just stubborn. In fact, that's probably the biggest way of doing it. The players misbehaved. I wanted to punish them. I wanted to fine them all and suspend them. The club didn't want to do that. I got all that later. But at the time, I'm thinking, oh, you're telling me what to do. I'm the manager. I'm telling you what to do. So I got that kind of stubborn streak in me. And I was just stupid and naive. So I stopped. I left. I resigned, which was, I said, was one of the most stupidest things I've ever done in my life. But anyway, I did. Because I really enjoyed the job and I really enjoyed the people that were there and they were really good to me, all these sort of things. But anyway, I made the mistake of leaving. So I wanted to then, I was just thinking, well, what am I going to do? And then I was actually doing a coaching course, doing at Largs, and you join in now and again. And I was 30, maybe 31 by this time, so I got injured at 28. So it was about 3 years, two and a half years down the line. I'd never played. And then Paul Hegarty and Paul Sturrock, Naaman Bannon at Dundee United guys actually said to me, "You look all right. You should try and join in a bit more and stuff like that." And anyway, I joined in with a couple of training games and various things like that and felt not too bad. So I knew Tony Fitzpatrick. Again, we're talking about areas. Tony stayed not that far away from me. Tony played for Poso IM, so did I, a year difference. But I knew Tony and Frank McGarvey, they were at St Mirren because I'd been with Frank at Celtic and that. So anyway, I phoned Tony, do you mind if I come in and train with the boys at Paisley and reserves, and just to get myself fit, a wee bit fitter? Tony says aye. So that's how it started. And then once I went in there and started kicking about with the young boys and that and enjoying it, I thought I'd give it a go again. So I did, and I limped my way through another 5 years. I wouldn't say I was anywhere near the best, but most, because you're a defender, you get away with it a wee bit because the game's in front of you, so you're no all the place. But it was a bit painful, and it was a bit. I didn't think I was anywhere near, but I managed to disguise it for most people.
So your first spell right at Dundee succeeds Simon Stainrod and reached the League Cup final. So did you regret moving from there to Hibs?
I didn't know at the time, I didn't, because I got on great with Simon for a start, but when Simon left, he asked me to take the job. Simon's a real character, and again, talk about strong personality and stuff like that, but he had a great sense of humour, really dry, and a lot of people didn't get him. A lot of other managers used to say to me, I can't go that so-and-so Stainrod and that, because Simon would say things like when we played Rangers, or we went for their throats and we ripped them out, all that kind of stuff. Everybody scared him, and he wore the hat, the fedora, and all this kind of stuff, and he swaggered a swagger. But I liked that, and a lot of it was tongue in cheek, and people who didn't know him didn't realise a lot of it was just a bit of fun, and people got a bit of humour gets lost on people. But obviously, I was asked. I didn't apply for Hibs' job. I was asked to go and speak to them, and then they offered me the job. So I mean, I was going through Dundee in the well, it's now the Championship, it's the first division then, to Hibs, who was a Premier League club. So, you know, a big club. So, you know, I was 36, I think, something about that. So young, 35, 36. Anyway, so, no, it was a brilliant move to get the job, but it just didn't work out for me. I made too many mistakes. I tried to rush it. That was the biggest mistake I made. I tried to rush things and try and change the whole structure of things. And Alec Miller had been there for 10 years. So everybody only knew Alec's way, including the players, including directors, including sponsors, everybody. Because you would say some things and say, oh, we don't do that. We don't do that. And I'm saying, well, if you'd done it better, I wouldn't be here, because that's why we're doing it. So you then it then became a bit of a kind of battle of wills. And then I said, I tried to rush it, I tried to rush the style and all stuff, and tried to reduce the age. It was quite an old group of players, and tried to bring guys in with potential. But in football, unless those boys realise the potential very quickly, you'll not be there to see it. So the mistakes I made was that I should have just took my time a wee bit more, and maybe brought in 2 or 3, and then waited 6 months and brought another 2 or 3 in, and so I went too quickly, and it just didn't work, you know. And ultimately, you pay the price, and you get the sack.
So it's a precarious job being a football manager, isn't it, man? It's fucking hell.
I mean, the thing is, the people that make decisions, whether they give you the job or whether they lose you the job, really don't know anything about football, really. You know, they're businessmen. You know, they've been successful businessmen. A lot of them are successful businessmen. But rarely have they, do they know the intricacies of football and how it works, and the dynamics of football in a dressing room. And you're asking me earlier on about the wee kind of fun parts, as you know, who can get wound up, how far can you go, all these things, the personalities, and also a lot of the trust that you get from players. A lot of the players will tell you stuff personally. They could have relationship problems. They come and tell you. They could have, you know, any kind of things. Somebody could be ill in their family. They'll tell you, but you can't expose that to the public, and you can't sometimes even tell directors or owners because they'll know about it, and the player trusts you to keep that to yourself. And in the last 10 years, the mental health aspect of football is went right through the roof. It's to the point of being, you know, really dangerously high. And the amount of players I've had come to me in one-to-one situations with you know, anxiety, depression, you know, a variety of personal health issues is huge. And I don't tell any directors, but if you left out those players, those 2 or 3 players that maybe are suffering for something, and you lost a game, the directors or social media will be saying, how have you left them out? You should have played those players. And you say, well, to be honest with you, it's none of your business. The boy is suffering from something, but I can't tell you that because he trusted me not to say. So the game's changed and evolved. But ultimately, you're still responsible for the results, and you know you have to accept that. Now it's part of the job.
When you took care at Dundee, you took care of Ivan Petty and had a lot of different players in the dressing room. Caballero, Nimzadze, Novo, Julius Speroni. What was it like in that dressing room trying to deal with all the different nationalities?
It's kind of strange because the first day I was in pre-season, I think it was July the 1st. And when I walked into the training ground, which was Caird Park, which is just after Kingsmead, Dundee, but there was a foreign dressing room and a UK dressing room, for want of a better phrase, because there was only a couple of English players there as well. But there was actually 2 different dressing rooms, and all the foreign players were in it. And I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, how can this work? You know, but there was 11 foreign players, and I think there was at that time maybe 9. I think it was 7 Scottish, 2 English. But anyway, the next day, I'd put up 2 lists and completely split them. So foreign Scottish, etc. And then stood in the middle of the 2 dressing rooms. And as they came in the door, I would say, no, you're in that one, and split them up to try to create a bit more harmony. And then we went away pre-season. And again, I split them up into, you know, because they would always want to go with their pals. And I split them up and made them come down in the morning and had to learn to say good morning on whatever language it was. So if it was Dobre, Rano, whatever it was to be, whatever it is, you know, Czech or something like that, or French, you know, it doesn't matter what it be, but just to say good morning or hello, just to try and make these things happen. But the language of the cultures, you have to learn it quickly. I mean, we played Rangers at Ibrox, and Georgie Namzadze was a phenomenal player, captain of Georgia. Could have played easily, in my opinion, for the Old Firm, easily. But anyway, we were playing Rangers at Ibrox, and Barry Ferguson was running the show. So Barry's getting on the ball, and he's passing everybody, and he's running the show. So am I allowed to swear here? Because I need to tell you what I said. So anyway, so half time comes in, and I've obviously I've got Hoddy Georgie. Hey, Georgie, fucking hell, Barry Ferguson's fucking running the show there. You're 60 cats for Georgia. I said, you're out there running about like a wee fucking boy. He's fucking. I said, get fucking in about him. So I had a wee bit of a rant, and on him to try and get some sort of response. And he went out in the second half, and he just walked about. Just didn't do any running, no response from whatsoever. So eventually I had to take him off. He comes in on Monday, speaks to him, and he said to me, look, you embarrassed me, you humiliated me in front of all my teammates. I'm the Georgian captain. You've humiliated me. And he was right. I did humiliate him. But I had to learn, I had to learn that, wait a minute, this isn't a Scottish boy. If I'd have said that to Barry Smith or Lee Wilkie, they'd have got sleeves rolled up and smashed into Barry in the first 5 minutes. You know what I mean? They'd have been different culture. But a different culture, you have to learn to address those type of people and know them. So after that, if he wasn't there, I had to pull him aside quietly into the corner of the dressing room and quietly say to him how good a player he was, how important he was for us. We really need him playing, and get inside his head a little bit. And that all those different foreign players like that. I'll give you one other example. We Nacho, I said to them, we were playing Aberdeen, and you're right, obviously before the game, where they're to be set pieces and all that kind of stuff. So I've wrote NN, Nacho Novo, edge of the box, right? Edge of the box, corners against. So there's a corner against, and I looked, and can me Nacho standing at the front post. So I'm screaming like a banshee for the halfway line. Fucking Nacho, edge of the box. So I can see the Aberdeen boy at the edge of the box standing nobody near him. Sure as fate. Cross gets knocked to the edge of the box. The boy smashes it in. So I'm again, half time comes in, and I'm like, Nacho, what does that say up there on that board? Nacho Nova, edge of the box. He says, what is edge of the box? He didn't understand it. What is edge of the box? It's Spanish.
Are you sure it's just that he couldn't read, Jim?
It's the edge of the box. It's all the one word. You know what I mean? When you're saying in Glaswegian, edge of the box. What's the edge of the box? He didn't have a clue. So that was my fault. So again, you presume. So then after that, I drew the 18-yard box. I drew the arc, and then I put his initials in the arc. So again, you learn when you're dealing with foreign players and different cultures and stuff like that. You have to adapt a wee bit.
See, one of my favourite players outside of Celtic that played in Scottish football was Fabian Caballero, right? I thought he was tremendous. I thought he was a brilliant player.
Yeah.
What happened to him?
Yeah, Fabian was an outstanding player. He's another one didn't like training. I know running. He liked training when the ball was out, but he didn't like running. Again, I think he was at Arsenal, and then he came to Dundee, obviously Ivano and that. Brought them in, him and Canigi and all these other kind of guys, Carranza, Juan Sara, all these kind of guys were some terrific players, but ultimately he pretty much bust the club. But, Fabian was a terrific player. But again, like a lot of the foreign players we're seeing it now with Morelos at Rangers and all that, when they go back home and all that stuff, it's a real tug of war and tug of love with them, where they go back and how they come back and the condition they come back in. And I remember Fabian didn't come back for pre-season. I think he missed the first 2 or 3 weeks, and then when he came back, he was like a stone overweight, all that kind of stuff. And you're trying to get the best out of him. But at the same token, you've got other players to be responsible. They've turned up, they've done all the hard legs. So, you can't just let them away with it. But the fans love them. And sometimes, again, that can be difficult because you're then having to play a different role with the fans because they're screaming to get them on the pitch. But you're saying, as a manager, you've got a moral obligation to the rest of the players. Say, wait a minute, they've come in here, getting run up and down hills and all that, and he's not going to just stroll in and play. So you have to kind of balance it out. And it was funny, he had a club car one day, and it was needed an MOT or something, and he went to the garage, and the guy knew me, and he phoned me up and said, Jim, come down to the office. And he come down and he opened up the glove compartment, and there must have been about 20 empty of the big M&M packets, you get in the pictures. The big 2 pound, there's about 20 packs all stuffed inside the glove box. So he liked a wee chocolate and biscuit and stuff like that. But he was a good player, a really good player.
He was a class act, wasn't he?
Really good player.
What was the reaction like when you heard Ravanelli was coming to Dundee? That must have been some buzz, that.
Well, what happened was we had a director at the time, Giovanni Di Stefano, who eventually I think he might still be serving under Her Majesty's pleasure. So I think he might still be tasting some porridge somewhere. But anyway, he wanted a celebrity sign him, and he kept at me. So we tried to get Gaza, and I'd arranged to meet Gaza, and God love him, he missed the opportunity. He came up the train one day, and obviously, he had a few drinks, and it didn't work out. Anyway, so we tried to get that, and then there was a couple of other players. He might know the stories. I don't want to bore you all the stories, but he then said to me he had agreed to get Edgar Davids, the Dutch international player.
I remember this.
Aye, and he said to me, I've got it all agreed. All you have to do is go to, Chirin and convince him to come to Dundee. And I was laughing at him. I'm like, what? Edgar Davids to Dundee? He's like on 90 grand a week. He's taking his apartment outside the Chirin. I said, you're wanting to come and play against Brecon? I says, in the Forfarshire Cup. You know what I mean? So, with a beautiful big hedge in the background, that'll really entice him. So, anyway, that kind of fell through, and then just so happened that I happened to be, he said to me something about Ravanelli, and obviously I was quite friendly with Luca Vialli, who had been with Chelsea. So Ravanelli and Luca were pals. So I ended up contacting Luca, and we managed to kind of get a hold of Ravanelli, and he agreed to come. So that's pretty much how. So yeah, when they came in, it was a bit surreal, you know the silver fox, he just again, you're talking about a good-looking guy, but there was just something about him. He could have been a mafia hitman in one aspect, the way you look through that kind of aspect. Imagine. Just amazing looking.
Smelling good and all that. Just
aye. Grado loves a good smell.
I can imagine him smelling tremendous. I could just when you picture him, you can just imagine what he was like, man.
I think he had a 100 ml bottle of high karate. You know what I mean? So he was really suave, sophisticated. He had all that. He just everything, and he just oozed class and style and all these things. A typical Italian style with all the cut suits and everything.
He just got in Goodfellas or Sopranos and came to work to the
exactly. Aye, and then obviously that kind of broken English speaking because he was at Middlesbrough and that stuff. So, but again, he was only there a wee while because again the club obviously had the problems with administration and that. But it was a joy to have somebody like him even for a short spell.
What was he like? Was he a professional? Did he do the training good and all that, Jim? Was he always...
He was the opposite of one or two of the guys. He was a total professional to the point where, actually, although he raised the bar, it gave you difficulties because he wanted the standard to be that high and he wanted all the facilities to be great. And we were training one time at a public park, one time in a junior park and all these kind of things, but he wanted everything raised. And there was nothing the matter with that. Don't get me wrong, there was nothing about, but we just couldn't afford it. But in terms of the standards, if it was even a wee bit jokey or carry on, he didn't like it. He would come and say to you. He would come and say, "No, they're too much fun, too much laughing and all stuff." And he wanted to be out, as I said to you earlier on about players playing abroad, and the Italian mentality, the tactics and the structure and the organisation is night and day for what we would do at Scotland. So he wanted that. He wanted real high standards.
You mentioned Gianluca Vialli there. Is it true that he based his haircut on you and I?
Well, I don't know if me and you and him and anybody else is like that is getting too many options. So, but look, it was another one. I mean, his standards is unbelievable. I mean, an absolute perfectionist. I mean, real OCD perfection. Everything had to be absolutely by the book, and these are the kind of things that I learned when I went down there. Is that attention, not so much attention to detail in terms of the tactics, but just in terms of the attention to what's required for each individual. In Scotland, everything was a big group, so you had 16 players, and you were doing running. Everybody ran at the same time. So the manager would say, right, everybody does this run in 45 seconds. Well, some are fitter than others, some are quicker than others, some are it's easy. But in down there, it was individuals. Every single individual had their own individual training program, their own fitness programs. And as I said, Luca he was the kind of guy that again set the standards because he'd done it. He was he was a player manager at the time, and he was unbelievably fit, and his physique was just phenomenal. He was like an Adonis when he was stripped. It was unbelievable.
Time at Dundee, obviously, then you did administration and all that, and all the personalities to deal with. Then you go director of football at Hearts, and you've got Romanov there. Mate, you've worked with some characters, man. Romanov, you must have have you got a Romanov story?
Aye. Well, I used to kind of joke say I had Romanov, I had Ken Bates at Chelsea, I had Di Stefano, I had Delia Smith at Norwich.
Sam, how have you not got a book out?
Ron Dixon at Dundee as well. So he was a Canadian, and said, "How do the guys like their costumes, Jimmy?" That's what he used to say to me. The costumes was their strips, and things like that. And, just used to say, I again, true story. I put a purchase order in for balls, and there was £20 a ball. Sorry, £50 a ball. We wanted 20 balls. So it was £1,000. So you had to get £1,000 off him to get the balls. And he says, "Oh, I seen them in the gas station for $4 a ball." So I get the kit man to go down to the garage and just buy them all, and they were like, they were like water balloons, they were all over the place, you know what I mean? So, but he actually thought a ball's a ball. It didn't matter what kind of ball it was. So, because he was a Canadian ice hockey guy, he knew nothing about football. But Romanov was a very strange character. I mean, don't get me wrong, I actually liked working there because it was different. It was completely different, but it would be one of the ones where you're almost playing a kind of wee game of who could come out on top. So, for instance, when you picked a team, you had to, at that time, fax them on the Thursday. So you faxed him the Thursday, he faxed back his team on the Friday. So you'd make sure you didn't tell the players that the team was on Thursday, even if you'd done the set pre-season, you had to kind of try and mix it up a wee bit. And then you would get to know which players you liked and which players you didn't like. So then I would actually send them a team on Thursday, knowing full well that that wouldn't be the team I would pick anyway, but I knew who he would put in the team. So it was all that kind of, so you were playing a wee kind of game almost to try and say, say he'll put a couple of Lithuanian guys in, so I'll leave a Lithuanian guys out on the Thursday, knowing he'll put them in the Friday, even if I was going to play them. So you had that type of thing to contend with him. And again, he'd go to the stage where he would say to me that Graham Ricks was a manager. He said, tell. It was his son most of the time. Say he was Roman, and he would say, "Oh, Vladimir says you must change this player," and he would actually give you players to change and times to make the substitutes and which substitutes to make. Before the game. And
did you do it?
No. but ultimately, you see, if you didn't do it and you didn't win,
you thought it.
You get kicked. And then so it came to the stage. Well, you boys will know, but Hearts had split Celtic and Rangers for the first time in 20 years or something. And we were playing Rangers at Tynecastle, and he gave us a team he wanted, and he told us the subs he wanted, and he said if we don't win 3-0, the manager will be sacked in the morning. That's what he said. So I said to him, "Well, what happens then?" And he says, "You will be the manager to me." And I said, "What happens if I don't do it?" He says, "You will be sacked." So he just, basically just like dismissed you. So we played Rangers. I said to him, "Look, you need to change the team, because if you don't, he's going to sack you." And he went, "No, I can't do it. I've done it a couple of times. I'm not doing it. Playing the team I want to play." So anyway, we drew one each. Rangers, Thomas Buffel scored. I remember it actually, and we drew one each. But we were still 6 points ahead of Rangers at that time. I was only about 6-7 games to go. I can't remember exactly when. And he sacked him on the Tuesday. He just came in and sacked him, and then it was one of those ones where he stood by his word. But he was a very complex character. I mean, as I said, he made me director of football. You're in charge of everything. But a few of his people in the background weren't overly happy because they were bringing in players. I mean, I think he brought in, I think about 10 players in the January. There wasn't even enough room in the dressing room. We had to actually put chairs in the shower so they could get ready. So it was just ridiculous. There was no homework done. There was the budget and the finances. That's how that club almost went bust. And that's the thing about having individual owners that, if they want to take the club in one direction and they don't back it. It's like Di Stefano said he would pay for Ravanelli and Craig Burley, but didn't pay it. So therefore, somebody's got to ultimately still sign with the club. And if the club don't have the money, then the club go bust. Right. And these individuals walk away, and that's what happened with Romanov.
Have you seen that? Have you seen the All or Nothing documentary that follows about Marino? Have you been watching that? No,
I've not the new one with Tottenham. The Tottenham.
It's superb. Have you seen any of it? No,
I've not seen the Tottenham. I thought the Man City one, and I've seen the Sunderland one, but I've not actually watched the.
Right,
I've not watched the Tottenham one yet.
I mean, the Man City one and the Sunderland one is two total different programmes. The Spurs one, what's really interesting about it is how Daniel Levy's close to Marino, and they go for breakfast and all that, and he's quite full on with him. What would you do if you're at a club and a TV crew say, we want to film you for the full year, we're going to come in, put the cameras in, you're going to be non-stop. Would you be up for that? Would you do that?
No, for me. No. I wouldn't want it, but don't get me wrong, clubs, I mean, again, publicity and social media and all these things, it can be really, it can be a big thing for the clubs. But me personally, it's not something I wouldn't want cameras for me all the time and doing stuff like that. I think that there are some things in football clubs that I still think should be kept in-house and in between those four walls. As I mentioned to you, there's probably has been things being left out, but I'm sure even the top players have issues and personal issues, and you can't. I don't think they should be subject to the public. I don't think the public should be aware of all these things. I think there are some things you should just keep within in-house. But yeah, I mean, when I was talking earlier on about Di Stefano, he wanted way before a lot of the stuff was happening. He wanted the fans to pick the team. And what he wanted to do was have a phone in, a bit like like a competition on the telly, like a reality show. Before reality shows really were as popular, so he wanted to pick the team, but it was like a charge. So you pay £2, whatever it happens to be. You phone in, you say, I want Grado playing, I want so and so playing. So you pick your team, and then obviously the average team, he wanted us to play that in a particular game. But he would be charging fans £2 a call or whatever it happens to be. So they come up with manic ideas. I mean, Romanov wanted us to, when I was at Hearts, wanted the team to wear a green away strip. And we're saying, you can't wear green, that's Hibs. He wanted green. He actually had drones and he had all the designs and everything all made up and all that. And it was, honestly, it was like a Hibs strip. And we're all like that. And people didn't even know. I said, you can't do that. But again, I remember the guy was at Vincent Tam that owned Cardiff, wanted to change him to the Bluebirds to red. Blue was unlucky in Thailand or something like that. And their nickname was the Bluebirds. And we don't care. It changed to be red. So yeah, you'll get owners. I mean, the other one I had was Milan Mandrić, who I had at Portsmouth, who was another character, believe me. And he brings in a goalkeeper, Yoshi Yawaguchi, his name was, and he was again good-looking guy. He was kind of David Beckham at Japan at the time, but he was only about 5'9" for a goalie. You know what I mean? And he's like, no, he has to play, he has to do this, and and so ultimately you're an employee. You don't own the club, so if he tells you he's going to play, then don't play him. In which case you get a sack, or you play him. And you just have to bite the bullet. And that's the way the game's changed now. The game's changed now because owners and directors of football and all these things now are bringing players into managers. Whereas, obviously, when I first started, I was in total control of who came in, who came out. But that's changed. That's all changed now.
So nowadays, you're at Dumbarton now, Jim. So, obviously, the pandemic and all that. How's training been going in the build-up for the new season and stuff? How's that been going?
Different. I mean, again, I don't get all the things, but I mean, I think we're all at that with everything. The players will come in, they've got to get temperature tests, they've got to fill in a COVID questionnaire before every training session. They've got to come with their kit on. They've got to come in individual cars. They can't get showered, which baffles me because I'm thinking, well, surely if you were soaked to the skin or all sweaty, you've got to travel back 45 minutes or an hour to your house. You end up with the flu, or heavy colds and stuff. But anyway, that's just the rule. So yeah, we've had to adapt to like everybody else in life. You've just had to adapt to it and just bite it and go on with it. And if you don't like it, you've just got to deal with it. So that's what we've been doing. But it's been great to get the boys back on the pitch again, and you know, and I think the players have enjoyed it as well, because 5 months is an unbelievable time. And I've never known, you know, that for I mean, normally, even years and years ago when players finished early, the longest would have been 7-8 weeks tops. So 5 months is incredibly long.
And as long as the club's all right financially, mate, you're still there, mate. That's what matters, isn't it, Jim?
Aye, but
Right,
we're probably hanging on with our fingernails, but we're still hanging on.
Oh, but Jim, honestly, man, it's been great chatting to you, some great stories. And now, the part of the show is a 90-second football daft quiz. Are you up for it?
Okay, we'll go for it. Yeah,
right.
Let's try for it.
Every week on Football Daft,
as long as it's daft and no anything else, I'm all right.
We put our guest knowledge to the test every week with a 90-second quiz. And last week, got a new leader, John Sutton, scored 15 last week.
Okay.
Mark Wilson and Keith Lazar are tucked in behind with 14, while the good doctor, Kenny Chuka, Kevin Harper just behind in third place with 13. We've also got Owen Coyle on 12, Yogi's on 6, Dick Campbell on 5, Falkirk manager David McCracken still at the bottom with 1. Anybody you want to get there, Jim?
Aye, David McCracken.
Right, so you're not allowed to pass, you must give an answer, Jim, alright?
Alright, okay, try my best.
Producer John, if we get 90 seconds on the clock.
We have indeed.
Right, you ready, Jim?
Yeah.
Here we go, right. What are Stenhousemuir's home colours?
That red. White.
Shane Duffy is on loan at Celtic from which Premiership club?
Brighton.
Who scored 2 penalties for Scotland last weekend?
Ryan Christie.
In what year did you take over Dundee for your second spell?
2003.
How many supporters will be allowed into grounds this weekend?
300.
Who plays their home games at K Park?
East Kilbride.
What is Stenhousemuir's nickname?
The Warriors.
At what club did you have your best win ratio as manager?
Falkirk.
Who is currently second in the Scottish Premiership?
Hibs.
Which League One club have just had investment from America?
Falkirk.
Who do Liverpool face in their first game this weekend?
Leeds United.
How many Manager of the Month trophies did you win at Dundee?
6.
Who is the current manager of Scotland under-21s?
Scott Gemmell.
How many teams are in the Highland League?
16.
In what year were Dundee founded?
1893.
How many goals did you score for Partick Thistle?
4.
Who finished top scorer?
Get to finish that one.
I've started, so I'll finish.
Okay.
Who finished top scorer in the Scottish Premiership last season?
Top scorer Scottish Premiership, Morelos.
Away you go, Jim, for fuck's sake, Morelos. Listen to Morelos.
No, Morelos, was it Edward?
There you go. There you got it right the second time. That counts.
So, Camden. Hey.
Come out, mate. John, what's for the Stenny questions?
I seem to put quite a lot of Stenhousemuir questions.
I was beginning to think of getting sponsored by Stenhousemuir now.
Davy Irons was getting more publicity than anybody else.
Hey, John, let's close the doors.
Let's go through the wrong answers. I'm going to accept. I've got Stenny home colours on maroon, but Jim said wine, so I think that's we accept that as
you said that right.
Well, you don't get maroon. I've never heard of maroon. Somebody's buying a couple of drinks. Yes, maroon.
Jim, I've got you down for 2002 for your second spell at Dundee.
No, I think it was maybe 2, because I think you're right. As soon as I said it, I thought, I think it was 2002.
It's very honest of you, Jim, because I might have given you 2003 if you had said it, and that could make a difference. You did really well, Jim. You got 3 Manager of the Month trophies when you were at Dundee, apparently. 17 teams are in the Highland League. But aside from that, you scored 4 goals for Partick Thistle, and you obviously got that one at the end wrong. But I've got you, however, down for second place, tied with 14 points, Jim.
14.
Oh, you're tied with Mark Wilson and Keith Lasley, Jim.
I can't believe Mark Wilson. God sake! I mean, I honestly, I'll need to go. I'll need to go and do a wee bit of research on that, because that's just not good enough. I can't have that. It could have been worse. It could have been Gordon DL, and then I'd really been struggling.
That's funny, man.
Jim, honestly, thanks so much for giving up your time and coming on, mate. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
No, thanks very much.
Football Daft with G4 Claims. Been involved in a road traffic accident? Get them now at notitfaultclaims.com.
Well, Tom, that was a good show. Grado's had to, obviously that was a wee sit-down pee he went for earlier. He came back. I think the sit-down peas triggered something else. He's had to go again. So
the sit-down peas triggered a stand-up shite.
And I definitely think Grado doing a stand-up shite will take a while, man.
Aye, certainly, without a doubt. But listen, I've loved it. Jim Duffy was fucking tremendous.
Yeah.
Michael Gardyne wasn't on for as long as he wanted or we wanted, but we'll address that in the future.
A wee teaser about Gardyne. We'll get him back home.
I think he's got some stories. There must be some stories for up the Highlands.
Aye,
there's got to be, hasn't there? There's got to be. Thanks very much, obviously, everybody, for listening. Get us on our socials. And I don't think there's really much else to say, is there, Stevie?
I think we need to sign up. We've been doing, remember we heard that, was it the Brecon song? Was it Brecon fans, John?
Aye.
Yeah, well, obviously, we don't want to do the Big Brother this story with Grado not being here and away in the toilet.
Oh, you were going to tell us a Big Brother story today, no, weren't you?
No, I'm not going to do it now. Do you know what? I keep doing this every week, and it keeps getting knocked off for some reason. So what I'm going to do is, if at any point there is a Football Daft live show, I'm going to keep the Big Brother show for the live show. So if you want to hear the Big Brother story, you need to get your tickets for the live show when it comes around, Troops, alright?
That'll be in 2026, so we'll look forward to that. We've not had long to wait for it. But last week, we were talking about chants a few weeks ago, and then we had Kevin give us the Brecon City tractor chant from last week. Now everyone started sending chants, so if we thought we could play out the show every week now with a chant from your club. So if you're listening, get your chants into us at Football Daft Pod, Football Daft Podcast on Instagram, or Football Daft on Facebook. And we've got one here from Greg Christie, who's an Aberdeen supporter, to play out the show with. All right, so here we go, boys. It's a song about Calvin Zola.
Zola has a massive cock, Zola. He tucks it in his football sock, Zola.
Whoa. Got the phone here, John. No, we can't have that. Listen, see if you're going to be sending your songs in, we don't want anything sexually explicit. We don't want anything that's going to cause us to be in the papers. Alright? Keep them clean, folks. What do you reckon, Stevie?
Aye, keep them clean.
That's all the good ones you're cutting out, though.
I tell you what, right, see if your songs are a wee bit dirty, just bleep out the words yourself. Go like that. Calvin Zola's got a bleep, banana, bleep, bleep, bleep. Mumble rap.
Big mix.
I'll get one for these. I'll get one that I made up, right? Bolingoli and Bombo. And Bolingoli and Bombo, he plays for Celtic. We signed him from Vienna. Not Africa.
Right, Troops, thanks for listening to Football Daft. We'll be back next week as usual. In the meantime, stay safe, guys.
Yes, and please, don't have nightmares.
Audio Frontier.